right, everybody, there's a tiny little snippet, a tip of the iceberg, if you will, of our culture. And of course, as you know, culture needs to be preserved. And that is exactly what our friends at Humanities Guahan do, and do really, really well. And they want to involve you, because if you have an idea, if you have passion, if you have a curiosity about how you can somehow incorporate culture into your work, whether it be, through dance, through the arts, through some sort of humanities project, Humanities Guahan is here to help you. And Dr. Kimberly Keeling, who is a dear friend of mine and who I have not seen in forever, joins me now in the Zoom room. So good morning, Doc.
Nice to see you. Yeah, nice to see you again.
Okay. Always a pleasure to see you, and always a pleasure when you're talking about basically free money that people who are willing to put in the elbow work and have something that they can contribute back to our island's rich history. You can actually help them along the way.
Yes, actually, Humanities Guahan is really grateful to be able to offer additional funding in response to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. In 2020, we had the CARES Act Emergency Relief Grant Program, and we gave out over $230,000 in grant funds to cultural and humanities-based nonprofits, as well as nonprofit organizations who engaged in humanities programs. Mm-hmm. And so this year in 2021, through the American Rescue Plan, we are going to be working with community organizations to sustain their humanities work through additional funding. And we will give out grants totaling $170,000 for 2021 into 2022.
Now, when you say sustain, at least to me, my brain goes off and I see that as the operative word. So are we talking about brand new projects that you would undertake and maybe some some new initiatives, or are we talking about existing enterprises and entities, and this would be an assistance grant so you could, kind of cover that stack of bills that's been adding up and because of the hardships due to the pandemic?
Yeah, so it's actually a combination of both. So if you are a cultural or humanities-based organization, then you can apply for us, and it can be for a new project, a new cultural or humanities-based project that you're working on. And for those organizations, we can also fund general operating support, program. We can do rent, we can do payroll, cover those costs as well as the actual humanities program. And then we also have a grant line for other nonprofits who may not be focused per se on the humanities, but they have a pre-planned humanities or cultural project that they'd like to receive funding for. And with that grant line, we cannot fund operations. So we can only do that through the cultural and humanities-based organizations.
Okay, yeah. Well, thank you for that, for providing some context. Because, over the years, as I've sat down on the KUM couch way in the back and been able to interview you and seeing, how Humanities Guahan has brought forth, these projects talking about the history of our people with food and of language and, of interpersonal relationships and everything like that. It runs the gamut on how, how our culture has evolved over the years. And I would really, really hate to see these people who are doing this for all the right reasons and they have love for Guam in their heart, that, just due to unforeseen circumstances beyond their control, they have to close up shop or they just have to cancel their projects because, things happen. But
yes,
I wasn't aware that it was both for new projects as well as, for, let's call it ongoing in-flight projects.
Right. Yes. We can, we can fund projects, like I said, if you're a cultural or humanities nonprofit, and if you want to engage in a project that you've been thinking about but haven't really initiated yet, but you'd really like to do that, we can support that.
Okay. Well, what little I know about the grant writing process and the grant application process is it's very specific to language, and there's certain keywords that you have to use, and you have to be, there's a complete prose that you have to use when you do that. And sometimes people have really, really interesting projects or amazing work that they want to do. And just, the vernacular that they use to set up their grant writing application, they get chucked to the side. How difficult and what's the timetable for, trying to apply for this funding?
Yes. So the grant application opened yesterday. Was it yesterday? Tuesday, September 7th, and it will run through October 9th. So you have, about a month to apply. For these grants, the process is a little more streamlined. The application form is pretty straightforward and simple. And everything is online, so you have to go on to Submittable, right? And you can access that through our website, through our Facebook page, through our Instagram. You can contact our office also as well. So we ask basically questions like, what does your organization do in the community? What are some of the projects you've done in the past? The mission of your organization. Those are pretty straightforward. And then what kind of project you want? And people get really intimidated by the word humanities. Mm-hmm. So basically we're talking about interpretation, discussion, analysis, kind of critical thinking. Those are the key kind of terms that you want to look at when you're talking about the humanities. But basically, if you are one of these nonprofits and you've engaged in this kind of cultural work, it should be pretty, straightforward and pretty easy for you to put together the application.
Okay, so even application process started 2 days ago. It goes on for exactly a month, so you've got until October 9th. I don't want to use the phrase first come, first serve, because we've heard that in a variety of ways over the last week and a half or so. Maybe a sore spot for some people, but obviously you want to get your application, you want to completely fill it out, and you want to have like all your ducks in a row. The sooner the better.
Yes,
because the money is finite.
Yes, we, like I mentioned, have $170,000 of grant funds available, and so we will, give those out. We're giving up to $20,000 grants, which are larger amounts than we usually give out, because you want to make sure that we're really helping the community in terms of COVID and during this really difficult time. You just need to apply, and I would advise that you apply sooner rather than later. And then also too, if you have any questions about the application process, or please feel free to call our office. Leslie Reynolds is our grant manager, and she's fantastic, and we offer a lot of support to people, the organizations that do apply. So we're here to help and to assist and to hopefully financially support your organization.
All right. So we know how much you love helping people, Doc, and everything, and we're certainly wonderful for it. Our community is so much better because of you. So making sure everybody that the current generation of Guamanians are able to express ourselves, share our ideas, and preserve that culture, so the next generation may benefit from it as well.
That's right.
So Dr. Kimberly Killing from Humanities Guahan, thank you. Always good to see you.
Thank you so much, Jason. Okay, bye-bye.
And please stay. Tell you what, we're going to get some music going right now, everybody. It is Cover Me, brought to you by our friends at Docomo Pacific.